They were like, yeah, we love your voice. We love your look. You're playing like a Texas country singer in our $100 million budget show. And I was like, oh.
Hit the boogie woogie, hit the jive. Do a little twist and dance all night.
Yeah, I thought Nashville was like Dolly Parton impersonators and, you know, like 10-gallon hats. I got the job, learned who I was playing, and it's this character called Smoker who smokes 2 cigars at once and rides this gnarly, it's called a Billboard bike. It looks like a Harley with 3 wheels. I've done a bunch of shows and some characters cooler than others. This one I was like, all right, yeah, I can do this. I really loved doing Virgin River because it was totally different, way faster. You don't have like a bunch of stunts or like huge fights with 2 pirate ships shooting cannonballs at each other, and you either die a rock fan or you live long enough to become a country fan. It was a little bit of a pinch me moment going from like pretending to play this guy who's got a record deal and, you know, he's an up and coming artist in the country world, and then it kind of starting to happen in real life.
That's cool.
It's really cool, yeah. I wouldn't act for free, but I would play music for free. What were you saying about your stepdad? I think we were unpacking a little bit here. Nice, well done. We got 10 seconds. You've actually got probably time for a fight based on your record.
This is the One Sheet presented by DistroKid. I am Kyle Forch, and my guest today, he is an actor joining season 2 of The One Piece coming in 2025. He's joining Netflix's Virgin River season 6, both on Netflix.
Yes, sir.
He is a country singer here in Nashville, Tennessee, originally from Scotland. Please welcome Calum Kerr.
Thanks, y'all.
Welcome.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. I'm excited to be one of your, I guess, first guests.
First
On the
season.
big show. Big new show. Up and coming. Coming soon.
Let's go. Hopefully we'll hit the charts. We'll be on.
I bet you will, man. Know that I'm on, you know. You can't,
there we go.
You can't
Hey,
miss the charts.
Netflix.
Right, yeah. Maybe wait till that comes out and then fire it on, yeah.
For sure. Actually, before we get going here, I got a little something for you.
All right.
We have a mutual friend that told me that you like bullet bourbon.
Oh, nice.
So I got you a little bottle of bullet bourbon here.
Yeah, someone knows me well. Who was it?
It was Don.
It was Don. Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
If you want to crack it open, you're more than welcome.
Hey,
to glass
I'll.
here for
You gonna do one?
I don't drink alcohol, but I will drink one of these THC drinks with you.
All right. Yeah.
I
I don't
let
do
me say
those
that.
THC drinks. Those seem crazy. But
Let me rephrase that. I stopped drinking after my second time in Nashville.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. There's a couple. I have to take some months off. You know. It's,
Yeah.
I can see why so many people come here and like end up sober after being here for like 10 years.
It's crazy. It's funny too because my family background, like if you go deep down, I have a little bit of Scottish, a little bit of Irish, a little bit of Russian, a little bit of Ukraine, and I think there's like some very slight like native in there. So all the ethnicities that love to drink and fight. So I had to.
Yeah. We'll get on. I'm just 100% Scottish, but we love those things.
There you
go.
So.
Actually,
I don't know how much you want. I can let you pour it yourself, or I can pour it for you.
You go ahead.
Just tell me when.
Dealer's choice. Yeah, just don't fill the whole thing. I got a meeting after this, but hey, yeah, that's great.
take the bottle with you.
Hey, thanks, brother. That's perfect, my man. No, that's beautiful.
You can always top it back up.
Beautiful measure. Flanger.
All right.
Flanger.
Even though Bullet Bourbon's not paying us, we'll put it up there.
Yeah, maybe they'll pay us after this.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, you got a Scottish guy drinking. Is it Tennessee?
Bullet Bourbon? I
Kentucky?
think it's Kentucky. Yeah.
Kentucky, yeah. Well,
Cheers.
cheers, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. All right. I mean, I mentioned it off the intro, but you like it?
Very good.
This one's delicious too, actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a blue raspberry, but
How high does that get you?
this one's only 5 milligrams, so it shouldn't do too much. Like, just kind of slam on before you got here. Got here a little bit early.
Oh, nice.
But if I take an edible, I normally take like a 25 milligram or higher. So it's a little bit. That's high for if
you got tolerance.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes I think I have tolerance, and then it just smacks me out of nowhere, and I'm like, man. I'll be in the middle of writing, and I'm like, what was I just saying?
It's fully legal in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Which is where you live, so yeah.
Yeah, we can't drink them at the bars though. Like they don't sell them at bars, which is a little bit different than down here. But hopefully eventually. But we can just go across the street, and there's basically a weed shop on every corner.
Yeah, that's well. I mean, there is here as well. It's just like this is not weed, but it's wheat. Yeah. It's like I don't know how you're getting around it, but
yeah, there's loopholes. It's like synthetic versus Canadian grown stuff. Yeah. But
I used to work at I used to play live quite often down at Losers downtown.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 floors, and the middle floor is like a marijuana floor.
Is it?
Yeah, and I'm like, how
I
do you
didn't know
guys
that.
even stay open? Like, why is the police not busting down the doors right now? And I guess you can. It looks like a weed counter. It smells like weed, and I'm like, yeah, just like, are you just selling weed? You know?
Actually, I did know they sold it there, but that's hilarious.
There was a couple rounds. I'd sometimes do like a 4-hour gig downstairs and then a 4-hour gig on the roof, and like I'd be high by the end of it without smoking anything. Just like, just that 8 hours of just breathing in.
That's funny. I've never smoked.
Not
I've only
weed.
ever done edibles.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never smoked anything. Just done the edibles. But
No cigs.
no cigs.
No drunk cigs.
No, never.
Wow. Yeah, good for you. I'd avoid it at all costs. Every now and then I'll find myself like, oh man, I shouldn't be having this cig. But,
Yeah.
you know, someone pulls them out and you're at Red Door and you're like, yeah, this seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning and you're like, God damn.
Are you a cigar guy?
Love a cigar.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as is Don.
Yeah.
My manager. No.
Oh, is he your manager now?
Yeah. He's
Okay.
he started off as a lawyer and he was my lawyer.
Yeah.
And he wanted to move into the management space. So
Cool.
yeah.
He's coming on the pod too.
Is he?
I've got him next week. Yeah, I wanted to get some of the legal side of things because like the podcast is for all entertainment, music mostly, but music and film since I have a new passion for film after the show that we talked about. But a lot of it is to like help other entertainers or up and coming entertainers that, you know, maybe don't know the right route to take or I think the business side is super. It's a need to know at this point, at least a basic knowledge of it, especially getting into music with, you know, everything going on with labels and independent and stuff like that. So I thought he'd be a good guy to have on.
Yeah, definitely. He actually came on our podcast, not as, I say our podcast, the one that we failed at. First of all, I didn't realize, we talked about this a little bit before, I didn't realize how hard it would be to produce a podcast. So we got like 8 episodes in, 3 of them were out, and it was just like too hard. And then I ended up getting an acting job in Prague, and it kind of just fell apart because we were trying to do it in person. And but yeah, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, Don came on the podcast as a whiskey expert because he's like really into Scotch and everything. So me and Chris, both being Scottish, with a podcast called Talking Scotch.
Yeah.
We didn't really know much about Scotch. We just liked drinking it. So we're like, we should probably get someone to come in and teach us like what are the different types, what are what are the flavor. And he brought in like some really good ones. It's like 5 different bottles, and it was like a 90-minute podcast. So we tried one of each throughout the podcast, and by the end of it, I was just blasted. Couldn't really remember what we talked about in the last 30 minutes. And so that was the other thing. We were just getting blasted. A whiskey drinking podcast. Yeah. We were just getting smashed for like 2 hours.
I loved it. I was watching it, and I was after the first episode. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to like dive in deeper to this. And then I got to the third one with John Haywood, who we both know, and I was like, "There's not another episode after this." Yeah. I was like, "What's going on here?"
John's was a great one, and again, it was like we went to who was it? Dustin Lynch, like #1 party.
Nice.
And it's always the same story at the #1 parties. Is, you know, if you're fortunate enough to get to go to them in Nashville, it's like free drinks and like loads of cool people. And so me, Chris, and John were just there. I think it was at like a bowling alley. We were just getting, you know, blasted and throwing balls around. And we're like, John, you want to come do a podcast now? So we then got back and started the podcast. And again, I mean, that was even worse because we'd started drinking before that.
Yeah.
But it was probably one of the best ones. In terms of guests, he's
awesome.
You know, really well spoken, and just me and Chris were like, "Hey, so where did you grow up?" You know, we're like hammered. And John seemed quite composed, actually.
Yeah, that's funny. It's funny you bring up Chris because I was gonna bring this up later. But Chris and Losers on the podcast, I believe you said you met him at Losers taking a piss.
Oh yeah,
it's like the first time. I thought it was funny because that's how I met Cole Swindell.
No way.
My first or second week in Nashville was at Losers. I was taking a piss. Guy comes in behind me, stands next to me. I'm like, fuck, I love Nashville. And he's like, what? I look, I'm like, oh, it's Cole Swindell.
No way.
I was like, oh, sorry, man. Like, I just came here from Canada. Like, it's my first week. He's like, oh yeah, I've played out here. I'm like, oh really? I pretended I didn't know who he was. Like, I was drunk, but I recognized him.
That's nice of you not to be like, and hey, I know exactly who you are while you got your cock in your hands. Like, maybe use a cubicle next time. Cole Swindell. Yeah. You know what? You're like, can I get a picture?
I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm an artist. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You ever play like Calgary Stampede? He's like, no, but I think I've played what's the one in Ontario? Boots and Hearts.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, you should play Calgary Stampede. But after I was like, oh, like, what's your name? He's like, Cole. I'm like, oh, sweet Kyle. I'm like, I'd shake your hand if we didn't just take a piss together. But it was nice to meet you.
Nice. So you kept it pretty cool.
Never talked to him again after that.
Were you like a big country fan before coming to Nashville? Or?
Before coming to Nashville, yes. Growing up, I hated country.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was mostly, I was a big hip hop guy. Still am.
Yeah.
Loved rap. I think partly it was because my mom didn't let me listen to a lot of hip hop.
Sure. It's like a rebellion.
And my stepdad loved country, and I hated my stepdad. So I was like, after I moved to Calgary. No worries.
Oh, sorry, bro.
You're good. This thing sucks. Got a new
Oh,
one.
is it this thing? I got
Yeah,
you.
because these things are made out of like plastic, so like over time, like this thing just doesn't really latch on, and it just like slowly
I
will
got you.
sink until it's just sitting on your lap.
Nice.
I just talked through it like I did yesterday.
It's never an easy way to.
It's all good.
All right. Thanks, man. So anyway, now that you can hear me, what were you saying about your stepdad? I think we were unpacking a little bit here. We're just getting into something.
No, I was just saying, like, I think that was part of the reason I didn't like country, because he loved it and I didn't like him.
Yeah.
So, but then when I moved to Calgary, Florida Georgia Line just came over with Cruise, and it was more pop, obviously, but like, I didn't know at the time. I'm like, this is a sick country song. I love country, and Cruise was always playing at the clubs. I was 18, so I was going to the Cowboys and Knoxville's or the big clubs back home. But yeah, so then coming to Nashville years later, I came in to do like a hip hop, and but I ended up meeting all my buddies that were country artists the first week, and then we ended up doing like pop hip hop crossovers, pop country hip hop crossover type thing.
That's cool.
So
That's cool.
It was cool.
And you were producing music.
I wasn't
the whole
producing them,
time,
but
or?
I was writing with them. So I would work with the producer that have like a beat. So I came from hip hop, right? So I used to writing to beats, and all these guys are used to writing to like guitar.
Yeah, yeah. I think they say Nashville is one of the last places in like the songwriter world where they still just, four dudes sit down in a room and try and find the chords, find the vibe, and then just write to the guitar. But that's changing as well. A lot of the writes I've been doing recently, and a lot of the ones where I produce the demo, we find the vibe and loop it on Logic or something like that. So it might be changing, but there is something nice to just going into the room with like, just the instrument and the vocal, seeing what you can find. It's a different feel. But yeah, it's I guess they don't do that a lot in other places.
It was funny because I was playing the beat, like, and I just set up a studio back at the house that I rented, but I was just playing the beat, and then our buddy Nick Matthews, I think he's written with like Morgan Wallen and Parmalee and a bunch of other people in town, and he brings out the guitar and starts doing like the acoustic version of what we were writing. He's like, is it too country for you, Kyle? I'm like, a little bit, man. I'm like, I don't know how to pitch in here. I'm a hip hop guy. I don't sing like you guys. I'm trying to rap on this, and you're giving me an acoustic track here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's a lot of times you can boil it down to like a few chords. Yeah, and then as soon as you play that with even a slight little country lick in there, it becomes a country song. You see all those people on TikTok and Instagram, and it's like, oh, what would... I think one of the big ones that I saw maybe last year was like, what would Blinding Lights by The Weeknd sound like as a country song? That goes viral. The guy puts it out on Spotify and it gets like 20 million streams.
Yeah.
But I think you can make almost anything a country song if you just add the right guitars and drums and, a fiddle or a steel guitar or a slide.
For sure.
But that's how you know country's good, man.
Yeah, and I love that there's more and more artists, country artists and other genre artists that are, country artists taking other genres, mixing it. And Morgan Wallen does a great job of that. Like hip hop, you look at his last album, it's very hip hop influenced. Yeah. A lot of other artists are doing that now, and then other hip hop artists are taking country and mixing it in with them. Like you see Post Malone, Beyonce was big, obviously one of the greatest pop artists of all time, doing country. And there's a lot of the traditional country fans that don't like it, but I love it. I think it's an evolution of music. Yeah. But it's like, and there's nothing wrong with sticking to a traditional country sound.
Absolutely.
But there's also nothing wrong with taking other influences.
It's the classic. Like, if you don't love it, you don't have to listen to it.
Yeah.
I mean, my son, I have an EP coming out, and there's 6 songs, and I'd say it's more like, you know, southern rock meets country production.
Cool.
But yeah, it's definitely country. It talks about all the country stuff, and it's got, you know, steel guitar and everything. It's just a little bit more rockier than like the 90s country. But I mean, you still get artists like Zach Top who are singing as if they're fresh out of 1991.
Yeah.
And there's I can't think of names right now, but again, I see them on social media and YouTube and stuff. There's artists that sound like they're from the 50s as well. So there's the best thing about the internet is that you see you see way more stuff. The worst thing about the internet is that you see way more stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like if these people who don't like the kind of crossovers, they have access to, you know, you can type into Google or Instagram, you know, 50s style country singer, and you're going to find one in the first page. So I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's good. And there's definitely still space for the classic sounding country music
For
as well.
sure. I don't think it sells as well mainstream now, but it's not like with social media, you're going to find your niche anyway. It's like, do you really need mainstream it now? Like, do you need the mainstream chart? It's cool. It's nice to have because you'll make more money. You'll get bigger. You'll play bigger shows. But if you build that core, I mean, I shouldn't even say you'll make more money because if you build that core fan base of the people that love with you, then you can go direct to consumer, do like a Patreon or like a grouped type platform, and then those people can subscribe to you and they can buy your behind the scenes content. And then it's like you're not getting 3 cents on Spotify per stream. People are paying you per month to listen to your music.
Yeah.
So,
I've seen a lot of people do that. I set up a Patreon a little while ago.
Cool.
And the plan is to get back to that. I had a weird turnaround year where I was doing the independent thing, and then I managed to sign a pretty good record deal, but I have to shift everything in terms of what I was doing. So before I was just throwing demos on there and throwing, you know, acoustic covers of songs that I had out, but now obviously the label wants to use all of those.
They're not letting you put it out there?
It's not that they're not letting me. It's just kind of like, I guess it would be cheeky for me to be like, hey, this label's putting out music over here.
Yeah.
But I want you guys to come and listen to other music over here.
You can still do other stuff though. Like, so there's...
I think so.
Let
like
me get you...
production stuff and behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff is great. And I think we're going on tour next year.
Cool.
So yeah, just like tour vlogs and stuff like that, you know, put the first half on YouTube, and
for sure,
you want to see the rest, you know. There's
another platform, I'll get you hooked up with it because I know the guys that run it. It's called Grouped, but Bailey Zimmerman's on there, Mike's on there, who we were talking about before, Ollie Joseph, who's a hip hop artist that has a little bit of country feel to his music. Nice. There's a ton of big artists on there and Mike has been a big artist that's kind of driven direct to consumer route, and they built this platform. Does
he go by Mike with a full stop?
Yeah, just Mike now. Yeah. I've used to be Mike Stud, and then he rebranded to Mike.
Ah, that's where I know him. Because when you mentioned him earlier, I was like, I feel like I know that. But yeah, I think I've got like 3 or 4 of his songs saved.
Yeah,
but I didn't know his last name. I guess I used to, and that's why I rang a bell. But yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And he does that independent thing, and sorry, go on. You were saying something.
No, you're good. I was just talking about their platform because they make a killing on there, and I mean, if Bailey's on there, Bailey's got a major deal too. So figure out what Bailey's doing on there and put your spin on it.
I'd imagine that was tied in with his deal. I don't know though.
I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows? I'm not sure. But yeah, there's definitely ways to monetize in the world other than just, you know, streams. Although there is money in streaming for sure if you're independent.
Oh yeah.
You know, like there's another guy that you should check out, Nic D.
Yeah, I know him.
You know Nic D? Yeah, he's.
I don't know him personally, but I know his music. He's on Grouped too, I think.
Oh,
he's actually a co-founder of Grouped.
Oh, cool.
I think.
Yeah, he's a smart dude. But I think he lives in like West Virginia or Virginia, and he doesn't really like. You don't see a lot of. I think I've seen like maybe 2 podcasts or something with him. But interesting to listen to, just the way he just lives in Virginia and
doesn't really
films
tour.
Content, and it does a show like once a year, once every couple of years, and it just makes all this money from streaming because he doesn't split it in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, but it's I think the awesome thing is that you've got everything from record deal to distro deal to management deal to whatever to that, and everything in between. I don't think there's a right way. Just Go
Yeah.
find out how to make it work and how to. I guess we're all doing it because we just want people to listen to music or our
sure.
music. Is like,
And make a living off of it.
is this good or bad? Fucking throw it out there.
Yeah.
See what the reaction is, and the more ears you can get, the better. So whichever way you can do that, make a living.
Yeah, and in today's day and age with social media, it's like there's no right option. Like you said, it's kind of whatever works best for you. And if you're killing it the independent route, then keep killing the independent route. If there's something that a label offers you or some sort of deal offers you, take it.
Yeah.
If it offers you something that you think you need that you're not getting on your own, but yeah, it's a lot of changes.
I feel like the
Do you want another glass of?
Yeah,
another pour there?
Go on then. Come on. Now we're getting talking. I'm getting warm here.
Take the bottle.
Yeah,
Hey,
if you got a
can we
straw
extend
over
this?
there.
Can we extend this show? You got someone coming in after?
Cheers, brother. Oh man.
I should have booked this one for 2 hours. I always
God,
get
I'd love to crawl out the room.
I always get along with guys from Europe, mainly Irish.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when I used to drink, but the few Scottish guys that I've met.
Yeah, we just it's totally in our it's just in our not in our blood. Well, it is in our blood. Literally, the alcohol is always in our blood. But it's just it's in our nature. Like if you go to Scotland and the US, you guys like to drink as well, and I think that sometimes you guys drink more often than the typical person in Scotland. I mean, there's obviously people that drink all the time everywhere.
Yeah.
But in the States, it's like there seems to be more of a going out culture. And maybe I just think that because I've lived in Austin and Nashville, and they're like very young, vibrant, outgoing towns.
Yeah.
But the bar scene in America is huge. Whereas you'll find in the UK, most of the pubs are, unless you're in London, pretty quiet during the week. But I think it's just when Scottish people drink, and I have a half Irish grandmother and a bunch of Irish friends, and they seem to be the same. I don't want to talk for them, but it seems to be a pretty similar culture. Is when we drink, it's just like you're drinking to get smashed. You're not drinking to have a few and go home and barbecue or what. Like you're drinking until the bar closes, and it's also it's not just like the middle-aged men. It's like men, women, old, young. And everyone's just, it's like...
What's the drinking age out there?
It's 18.
Same in Calgary or in Alberta.
Oh yeah, Canada's the same.
Yeah, well, it's 18, 19 depending what province, but
Right.
younger than the US.
Yeah. The US is like, it's not as if they don't drink in colleges,
Yeah.
See all the movies, it's like, these people in college who are 18, 19 are also in college with people who are over 21. They think they don't have access to alcohol. Just make the drinking age 18 and make it more chill. Dude, me and my friends were going out at like 15 with, sometimes not even with IDs, just no one would even ask. And you go, boys. Have a good time. Whoop, in the door. And we're like, we've got our fancy jackets on, and they put on a button-up shirt, try and look old. You're like, yeah, excuse me, just trying to get in here. Put on a deep voice, and you get in there and you're like, but it was, I don't know. It's definitely in the culture. But it seems like, I don't know if it's just because everything's way more expensive these days and stuff, but it does seem like the younger generation are kind of moving away from alcohol compared to, how old are you?
I just turned 30.
Okay, so we're the same age.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like the kind of 18 to 25s, there seems to be a big kind of reluctance to drink alcohol. It's it's a lot more kind of smoke weed and I don't know what else actually. I don't have many friends under 25.
Mushrooms, like microdosing is big now.
Yeah. I have a friend here that she'll microdose instead of going out and drinking.
Yeah.
She'll just go out and I don't know how much or what she does, but she just doesn't drink anymore. She just nibbles on a mushroom through the night. I don't know how she does it, or if it's in pill form. I don't know, but
you can take them in pills too.
Yeah, I think it might be.
You can take. It's the same as like THC edibles or like weed edibles.
Yeah.
You can have them in a chocolate bar. You can eat the fucking mushroom whole, which is terrible and disgusting.
Right. Yeah.
Special thanks to our presenting sponsor, DistroKid. DistroKid is a service that more than 2 million artists use to put music into online streaming services such as Spotify, TikTok, Apple Music, Pandora, Amazon, Instagram, YouTube, and any others that you can think of. They don't even take a commission and offer unlimited uploads for a yearly subscription fee as low as $22.99. As many of you artists know, this is vastly different from the traditional model, which charges you up to $40 per release, and on top of that, they take up to 9% of your sales and streams. DistroKid also offers automatic payment splits, so you can easily pay your collaborators or be paid if you collaborate with someone or work on a track or album if you're a songwriter, producer, feature. And for all you cover artists, you can even upload your cover songs for $12 a year on DistroKid rather than paying a per release licensing fee. On top of all of that, they offer several free promo tools for DistroKid members and have several additional services like DistroVid for music video distribution and Mixia, their instant mastering service. If you're curious about artists who have used DistroKid and want to hear more about it from them, check out some of the testimonials at distrokid.com/love. DistroKid's goal is to reach more independent artists so that they can get their music out there. Use our promo code THE1SHEET for 30% off your first year when you sign up for a new DistroKid membership. Again, that's THE1SHEET for 30% off your first year when signing up for new members. Yeah, I mean, the Scottish kind of, and I mean, European drinking scene kind of goes hand in hand with a show that you're joining with Pirates.
Oh,
the
yeah.
One Piece.
Yeah.
I mean,
God.
Pirates and drinking has gone back. I mean, you look at the Pirates of the Caribbean with Johnny Depp,
God.
always a bottle of rum, but I just crushed the entire first season before he came on.
Oh, you did? Nice.
Yeah, loved it. It's
Yeah,
it's
cool.
kind of like
Cheers.
it's kind of a combination of like Uncharted, the video game, if you know it, and like Pirates of the Caribbean
Yeah, okay.
mixed with some other like TV shows you can throw in there.
Yeah, that's cool. That I've never played. I'm not much of a video game guy, but I've seen the Uncharted. Did they not make a movie?
Movie, yeah, with Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I did the same when I had no idea A, that it was a show, or B, how big it was.
Yeah.
And then I got the job, and I didn't know what character I was playing. I didn't know anything about the universe. And it wasn't until I got the job, still didn't know what character I was playing because everything had to be real under wraps. And got there, learned who I was playing, and it's this character called Smoker who smokes 2 cigars at once and rides this gnarly, it's called a billower bike, but it's a trike motorbike, and it just like, it looks like a Harley with 3 wheels, and it just blows smoke out the back while this guy smokes
awesome.
2 cigars at once. And I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. That was one of those, I've done, a bunch of shows, and some characters cooler than others. This one I was like, all right, yeah, I can do this.
So did you watch the first season of when you let me ask you this way, when you join a new or a show that's already had a season or two, do you watch that entire first season or the entire show, or does it depend on what your character kind of knows or would know in the show?
I guess so. For One Piece, there's the live action, which is made with real actors and real people and real stunts and stuff, and there's an anime version which there's 1,000 episodes of. So there's in the 3 weeks that I had to pack up my stuff in Nashville, work out who's going to look after the dog and where I'm going to keep my car and all that. Yeah. I went to South Africa for 3 months. So between all that,
that's where it was filmed.
Yeah,
cool.
So between all that, I watched the season 1 of the live action, and then I kind of flicked through the anime a little bit. I kind of raced through it to scenes that Smoker was in, just to try and get an idea for the character. And then when I got there, I started watching the anime from the beginning. But I'm on episode 80 of 1,000, so it's probably going to take me years. But I have a baby as well, so I'm like, I can't just sit and watch cartoons all day. Maybe when she's old enough to watch it, then we can sit and watch them together.
It's not really a kid's show though, at least not the Netflix one. Like you kind of, I don't know how, I haven't watched the manga yet, but it kind of looks like it could be. And then in the first episode, dude's getting chopped in half. I'm like, oh shit, that's the type of show this is.
Yeah. It's hard to, it's kind of it's got that kind of almost like Harry Potter-esque, where it's kind of kids love it, but also you can watch it as an adult and not feel like you're watching Bluey. Yeah. Do you know what Bluey is?
I've heard of it.
You'll meet Bluey whenever either you have a kid or one of your siblings has a kid or your best friend. It's this cartoon blue dog with an Australian accent. Oh. And he's just raising the next generation. The kids love him.
Is this
kind of like the Barney of today?
Is this like a sequel to Blue's Clues?
No, it might. I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's. I don't know if we had Blue's Clues in the UK, but yeah. Anyway, I can't remember the original point, but Bluey is. Oh yeah, that you can watch it as an adult, and it has a huge adult following as well. I think that's the coolest thing about all those Japanese shows is that, and it's definitely crept across to the UK, the US in the last like 15, 20 years, but it's like adult cartoons.
Right.
Whereas, you get like King of the Hill and
like Simpsons,
Archer,
South Park.
And South Park's a good one. But yeah, so it's just so well written, so well thought out, and the TV show has just unlimited resources to make an awesome show. And I think they did.
Yeah, I love the first season of the Netflix show.
Who is your fave character?
I like the drive behind the main character, but he annoys the hell out of me sometimes. Just with how like silly he is, and like I'm like
always happy, always positive.
He's always too fucking happy.
Dude, talk about the casting of like a lifetime. First of all, for the actor and for the show, like he and tell me if I'm talking too much about TV, because
no,
we can get onto
music and entertainment. I wanted to talk about the Netflix side.
Okay, so he's a really, really awesome dude, and he's joining the biggest show on Netflix in the world or something in 2024 as the lead character. I think he was about 19 when he took the role, but it has this huge cult following where like if he goes to Japan, he'll never have to buy a beer for himself. Like he's a legend over there already. Yeah. But for the show, if you look at the anime and then match it side by side with who they cast, it's like, of course it's that guy.
Yeah.
Like he's the perfect casting. There's like some slight differences, but like he looks perfect for that role.
Yeah.
As do like all the other casts. So I don't know what they're going to say about me, but
I really like the samurai.
Oh yeah,
he was badass.
Yeah, he's an awesome character, and he does all those stunts with the swords on his own. Which is
he does it on his own.
Yeah,
that's sick.
So, I've been under strict instructions not to talk about specifics of season 2, but there's some insane things happening in season 2.
Do you know when it comes out? Has it been announced?
No, they're still filming it.
They're still filming it.
I did basically all of my filming requirements over our summer, which was their winter, but they're still going because it's all based on location. So you can get if you have 3 episodes in this location, you'll film all 3 there, and then you might have to wait a month until they move on to the next place. So it's it doesn't shoot like episode 1, scene 1,
right?
It's kind of all over the place.
How many episodes are you in? Can you say?
I don't know if I can.
Because the way they teased it was like you were going to be a major character in season 2.
He's definitely. I mean, yeah. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but I don't want to get in trouble. So I think he's. He's a pretty big character in the manga and in the anime. So I think it reflects that.
Sweet.
And I'm going to leave it there before I get in trouble.
No worries. We can always cut something if you said something.
Yeah. I'll tell you after.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll send you the episode before we put it out, too, just in case you're like, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
I tell you after, and then you just like turn the camera back on. So he's actually in.
Yeah. When I clip it, I'll just put the over font.
Yeah, it's. Oh, my God. But yeah, amazing job. One of my favorite acting jobs of all time, and maybe my favorite job. Yeah, maybe my favorite acting job I've done so far.
That's awesome. It was cool kind of how they went to like a different pirate throughout each episode too, or almost each episode.
Yeah.
Like especially for the first couple episodes, they were fighting the clown guy was wild. Yeah. I was like, this is getting crazy now.
Oh man. I got to work with Jeff's the guy that plays Buggy the clown.
That's it, yeah.
Oh my God, what a guy. I really, really like Jeff. I'm glad I was in South Africa at the same time as him because we had a blast.
That's cool.
Me and Jeff. But yeah, he kills that part. Unbelievable. I think he's pretty much everyone's, he's a big fan favorite.
Yeah. Did you have any scenes like on the ships? Like how did they film the ship scenes? Were they on actual ships or were they a set that they CGI the rest of it? Or
they're pretty much real ship. It's a mixture because there's sometimes that a lot of it is in a studio.
Yeah.
Especially the indoor scenes, but they have huge studios, so it's not like, some studios are just like, all the cameras are on one side and it's just almost like a background.
Right.
Whereas their studios are like, if there's a bar in a scene, they build a whole bar on the lot. So
it's giant soundstage type thing.
yeah, or sometimes there's just a perfect location outside of the studios that they'll go. I know that they use the real coastline and stuff like that. We had online ships, and which are basically just real ships, just on wooden stilts.
Yeah.
And then there was hydraulic ships that could go up and down. And
That's sick.
I actually don't know if they ever got out onto the water when I was there, but I'm sure they will at some point.
That's cool. The way it was shot was really cool too. Like, cause it almost looks like how the Disney animation movies are shot, but it's also so different than Disney.
Yeah.
Because of like, it's more, I mean, I guess Disney's doing more adult content too, but it has that really live action type of vibe. But like the way the colors are shot and edited, it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
The way it was shot.
Yeah, I was so impressed. I think I'm so glad that I even got the job, because I wouldn't have known that it existed, probably.
I'm glad that we got the interview. So then when I looked up, when Don was telling me about the Netflix shows, and I looked it up, I was like, oh, this is sick. And then I watched it in like 2 nights. I think I was grinding.
Hell yeah.
I was up till like 3 a.m. I was like, oh shit, I have an interview tomorrow.
Don was a fan when he was growing up. He
Really?
watched the cartoon, the anime, yeah.
That's
so
cool.
he was like, what the hell? You're playing Smoker? Like, that's unreal. I grew up watching that guy.
That's unreal.
So yeah, I'm excited for it to come out. But like everything in the music and TV industry, it's going to be a while, I think.
Yeah. I'm
Nothing
still waiting
happens
on
overnight.
like season 5 of Stranger Things too.
Yeah.
They're still filming that.
Yeah, I mean, that one's, and also, I mean, the budget on Stranger Things and like the post-production with all the special effects must be crazy. So
I think it was, the last season was 30 million an episode,
yeah.
which is nuts. Our show was 10 million for the entire season.
right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's why so much reality TV is coming out, because it's fast to shoot and
Yeah.
cheap to make. And I really loved doing Virgin River, because it was totally different. It was way faster.
Okay.
You don't have like a bunch of stunts or like huge fights with 2 pirate ships shooting cannonballs at each other, and I guess that now has become the longest running show on Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah, or longest running Netflix original show.
Okay.
With like, I think they just said they're doing a 7th season, so that's the longest running Netflix original. So it's cool. It's cool. I think those 2 shows are like, I'm a fan of them both without being in them, and I'm just like kind of pumped that
That's cool.
I get to be in those universes for a little bit.
And season 6 comes out December 19th.
Yes.
Is it Virgin River?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'll be there.
That's awesome. Is it a weekly, or do they release it as so you can binge watch it?
I'm sure it's all at once.
Cool.
I'm sure they drop it all at once. But yeah, I'll let you know after this if we have to.
Yeah, for sure. Where was that one filmed?
Put that it is not coming out all at once. That was filmed in Vancouver.
Oh, cool.
In Canada. So full Canadian crew.
Cool.
And again, I had a great time there.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it again, but I don't know if we did like flashback scenes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll ever come up again, but yeah, I had a bloody
That's
great time. Yeah. Love Canada. Love the Canadian people. The film industry there is awesome. And,
It's growing.
Yeah.
I think the film industry in Nashville is going to grow eventually soon. I think it's going to be
That'd be great.
next, because Louisiana is kind of the next one that got hit, because everyone's leaving LA.
Yeah.
And like 50 Cent just built a gigantic studio in Louisiana and Shreveport.
I heard that.
And
Yeah.
I think Nashville is going to be next. I feel like it has to be, because Atlanta's already going. Everyone's leaving LA.
Yeah.
I don't know about Miami. You could probably tell me better if there's like a big film scene out there.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know if, I'd love it to be in Nashville, because I'd love to be able to film a show and then go home to my own house at the end of the day. But I don't know if Nashville's too close to Georgia. I feel like Georgia's kind of like the hub for the Southwest. But yeah, if I'm wrong, then that'd be awesome. I'd love to just be able to stay home. Not that I don't love traveling, but it does. After like being away 6 months of the year, you're like, we'd kind of love to sleep in my own bed for like more than a few weeks before going somewhere else. But
For sure.
That's just the beast, And also, I get to go to really cool places. Like I was in Vancouver and Cape Town, and I'm trying to think where else this year. I was in Prague last year, Morocco the year before. So it's like it's kind of cool.
What were you shooting in Prague?
That show
You're like, I can't say anything about that one either.
Shit, yeah, I'm sure the press releases in like 2 weeks or something like that.
Okay. This won't be out till January, so.
Yeah, an unnamed series. But I'm sure that comes out before One Piece, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. This is the most annoying thing. So I just want to tell everyone about it. I'm like, this is exactly what's happening. But
I'm like, we can line it up with the release date if you want to. Just let me know.
oh yeah, that could be cool.
No, but it's
I'll let you know as soon as I know.
Yeah, for sure.
But they don't tell actors anything. They just, you go in, you do your job, you act, and then you leave, and then they do post-production, marketing,
everything.
I don't know, everything. Yeah, everything else, the press. And then they'll let you know last minute, because as soon as sometimes you just see the press release, they just like tag you in it or something like that. You're like, oh, cool.
You're like, it's out.
Because otherwise, it's like, I'm sure the actors are all under contract not to say anything, but their agent known, the agent tells their friend, the friend tells someone, and like all of a sudden it gets leaked. So I get why they don't tell us anything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm always just like, come on, give me a little nibble.
Yeah.
Let me know what's going on.
If there was another series that you could join that's already in progress, whether it's a season or 2 seasons or however many, what would it be?
Oh man. Do you have an answer? Even though you're not an actor, if you could like be
yeah, Power.
Oh, good show.
You watch it?
I saw the first 2 seasons, I think.
Of the original?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite. Courtney Kemp is a genius. 50 did a great job with that show too, but even the sequels, like the spin-offs, Ghost, unreal. Force, I loved.
But that was good.
Yeah, loved them all. That was actually the reason I asked you if you watched the first season of shows that you joined, because Gianni, who plays Braden in Ghost and Power, he didn't watch the original 5 seasons, I think, because the character Tommy in there, he had a scene with him, but Braden had never met him before, didn't know him, so he's like, I wanted that natural reaction.
Sure.
They were like, because if I knew how badass he was in the show, my reaction would have been different. But I wanted to know that I didn't want to be clueless, basically.
Yeah, so you don't want to start almost like worshiping the cool character before you have to be against them or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's some actors like to do that. I like to be a little bit prepared, but it's just each to their own.
For sure.
It's like some fighters don't watch tape of their opposition beforehand.
Yeah.
Some fighters study every detail. It's like, pick your poison.
Neither of those went well for me. I went 0-5, so I was an MMA fighter.
Were you?
Yeah, I did 4 amateur fights, and I just did a pro fight last year.
You went 0-5.
Yeah.
Damn, you didn't think about hanging it up after the first 3? Jeez. Dude.
Wasn't good. Well, I won. The only ones that I won were unsanctioned ones that didn't count on my record. Because back in the day,
so you did
I was
win
like
some.
So I was like 15 when I first fought. So
Right.
I had and back when I was when we were 15, MMA was still like largely illegal in Canada. So like you would have to fight on like the native reserves where there's like they're not sanctioned, right? So you just go in there and you'd scrap somebody, or you'd go like an inter-gym type thing. But yeah, my last fight was when I was the week I turned 18, and then 10 years later, I didn't get cleared because I had a concussion or I had a brain injury from a fight that I got knocked out in. Finally got cleared 10 years later. I was like, I'm going after the kid that gave me the brain injury as an amateur. We fought again. Best camp I ever had. I was in the shape of my life.
Yeah.
And then the fucking nerves just got to me after. Oh, man. And not blaming it on it. Like the kid can hit.
Yeah.
But I was like, Jesus. I watched the tape. I'm like, is that what I looked like?
Yeah.
I was like, is that what I looked like in sparring? My coach was like, no. He's like, I didn't know what you were doing out there.
Yeah, that's the ability to perform under pressure is a big part of it. I've never done any kind of MMA. Well, sorry, that's a lie. I've trained it, but I've never fought. I did jiu-jitsu for about 6 years. I haven't been back since I had a kid last year because it's just I do some other stuff, CrossFit and
cool.
I'm like, I can't be spending 4 hours a day in the gym when I've got like acting stuff, music stuff. And a baby at home, and trying to have any kind of chill time with my fiance. So I've not been back for a while, but I trained jiu-jitsu for 6 years, and then there was twice in my jiu-jitsu career where the jiu-jitsu gym I was training at was in MMA, an MMA gym. So one in London and then one in Nashville called Nashville MMA.
Okay,
I was there for about a year. And so I would do jiu-jitsu and then just jump into like a Muay Thai class or something like that.
Muay Thai's the best.
Dude,
Those guys are insane.
I was probably, by the time I got to Nashville, 27, maybe 28. And at like, maybe if I was 15, I'd try and compete.
Yeah.
But I was like already 28 and I was looking at some of like the 20-year-olds and like how good they were. And I was like, I'm never going to catch up.
Yeah.
My time has passed. I tried. I'm just doing it for like, you know, kind of for fun, a little bit of a challenge. I'm going to find other like 28-year-olds in the class to drill with. Like, I don't want to be professional here.
It was definitely a mistake jumping into a pro fight after 11 years of not competing and against the kid. Like I was buddies with the guy, so like it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
But like he had been way more active, so he got nerves because I made it like a big show. Like I promoted the hell out of it. I was doing everything. I marketed it way more than I trained. That was my biggest mistake in my MMA careers.
Yeah,
I was promoting it more than I was training for it. But in this case, I took it very seriously. But I hadn't been in there in 10 years. I jump into a fucking pro fight against a kid that has already knocked me out cold, broke my nose, gave me a brain injury.
Oh, dude.
And then in this fight, he caught me in an armbar and I like panic tapped. But I escaped a guillotine that I thought I was sleeping. Like I thought I was unconscious, and then he just let go. Wow. I was like, "Oh, I'm awake."
yeah. His arm's getting tired. He doesn't. Yeah. That's a big thing when jiu-jitsu is you don't realize how close someone is or isn't, or you know, and especially if you've been doing a couple rounds. We used to spar like we call it Shark Tank. Mm-hmm. So you'd be on your back. First guy comes in for a minute. You're just trying to like escape off your back or, you know, submit. And then whatever happens, if you submit him in like 30 seconds or he submits you, you start again for the rest of the minute. As soon as the minute's up, he jumps out, a fresh guy jumps in. Yeah. And it's like, you know, sometimes you're just like, all the blood in your body is just like in your muscles and you're so heavy and you can't move. And yeah, I can't imagine. I love watching the UFC because, you know, I know a tiny amount about everything that they're doing, but the thing I know the most about is like how much I wouldn't want to be in there.
It's fun,
and
dude.
So I respect the hell out of it, man. I'm just like, that walkout must just be like petrifying.
This time it was. All the other ones I was like smiling, I was relaxed, I was having fun. This one I tried to I got myself way too hyped up.
Did you put too much behind it, like too much emotional energy? Like, I gotta win this because Yeah, and it was right after my mom had just passed away, and then a week or two before the fight, a buddy of mine from Nashville had passed away. So I had put like their names on my gear and stuff, and I was like, I'm fighting for them, and then that, including with all the promotion, and then including with me getting myself too hyped up in the back, I was like panicked. But I escaped 2 armbar, or a guillotine, a triangle, and an armbar, and then he finally got me on the second armbar. But the best feeling ever, since it was a pro fight, we were allowed to elbow each other. So we were elbowing the shit out of each other on the ground in the face. And I was like, he had me in a triangle, he's elbowing me in the head. And I was like, oh yeah, we can elbow. So I adjusted, I just started dropping elbows on him. I was like, this is awesome. Dude, yeah, that's the word. Yeah, the only bad thing about MMA is that they can hit back. It's like, if you just had a big punching bag in there, it would be awesome, you know? Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to be one of those dudes that's like undefeated, like those Russian dudes. Like John Jones, or I'm trying to think who else is.
Like
there's do you watch it?
Oh yeah,
is that Ilya Topuria or Topuria?
Yeah,
he's like such a slick boxer, and it's like it must be so cool to go in there with other animals, but also just be a little bit better than all them. Yeah, it must be a crazy feeling.
Yeah, it's when you're like a guy like John Jones, who's literally the best fighter in the history of the sport too. Like, no wonder he gets in so much trouble outside. Who the fuck's gonna do anything?
Right, yeah. Yeah, I guess I wonder if there is an added pressure of like not giving up your title as the best.
That too, yeah.
You know, it's like
that's more in boxing, I think, than MMA. Maybe when you get to where John Jones is, but like boxers are always padding their stats. MMA fighters don't as much. Yeah. I don't find.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the UFC, with it just purely being really an entertainment company. Yeah, if you lose, but it's an exciting fight, they're like, all right, brother, when you jumping back in?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like the Michael Chandler thing.
Yeah.
You know, he's lost like 3 of 5, but everyone's like, these are the best fights.
Yeah.
It's just like, he's just like throwing for the hills against like other dudes that are also at the top of their level, and it's yeah, gotta love it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a great sport. I mean, the Europeans, like Irish and Scottish, are always tough fucking guys to watch fight too.
Yeah,
but you back to acting a little bit. I mean, it's kind of funny because your first acting gig was playing a rock star, right? Or a musician of sorts.
Yeah, it was a theater gig, and I played the lead singer of a rock band.
That's
for
cool.
a theater show. Yeah, and that was I'd never done either before professionally, so that was cool.
That's cool.
Cool to just jump in, both ends.
And then did that kind of spark? Like, when did music come into play? Because I know you described yourself as the rugby kid that just loved emo shit when you got to Texas. I remember you saying that on a podcast.
Yeah.
I remember laughing about that.
Yeah.
You're playing like Billy Talent and like Green Day and all those bands, which are classics. And then you're like, oh, like country music.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I loved playing or not playing. I loved singing along to like My Chemical Romance and Fall Out Boy. And not many of my friends liked that stuff. But yeah, I couldn't play any of it on the guitar, and I just didn't ever sit down and try and learn it. But I could play the guitar to some level. And then I got to Texas, and it was like, here's this song. It's like, chicken fried, and it's 4 chords. And I was like, oh, this is way better. Yeah. And it's sing-alongable. It's catchy. And it's so I fell in love with country music immediately. What does it say? I've probably said this before on some other thing, but you either die a rock fan, or you live long enough to become a country fan. Yeah. And it's so true. Like, eventually, like, because even the emo bands and the punk rock bands that you listened to when you were a teenager, even they kind of grow out of their sound as well. You look at Fall Out Boy, they're kind of going into that more kind of radio pop stuff, like Paramore kind of doing the same. It's I don't know why. I don't know if there's a reason why that like kind of rebellious emo punky sound is just like so cool when you're a teenager, and you're like, I still love listening to those songs, but it's weird if that band comes out with an album that sounds like you're 15 again. You're kind of like, I don't know, I just kind of like John Denver now. It was good, but yeah, so it was an easy transition from one to the other, and I think that both of them are lyrically pretty smart genres, and both are melodically smart. So I think they lean into each other pretty well. And then when you were on Monarch, I haven't started yet, but my mom loved it, and I'm excited to start it. Oh, nice. But when you were on Monarch, was that kind of what sparked you to want to start writing country music, or that was what sparked you to go to Nashville? 100%. Yeah, I was in Austin, and I was trying to find avenues of how to get into music. So I did like an online production course, and then I was going to go do engineering at like a local studio there, but it took me like 6 months to get in. It's quite a closed environment, and it's not, you don't have like the business side of it like you do here in Nashville. So there's so many musicians there, but like, even if there's 10 studios, it's like all of them only need a couple of engineers or, a few players. So it's quite hard to get in, but pretty much the day that I got a job as an engineer at one of the studios, I never ever went in for the job because I had to go and film Monarch. But I was playing a country musician, and the original thing was like, I'm just going to produce and make music, and then that definitely gave me the kind of the confidence that I could sing, because I auditioned, and which is so silly because you should just go for it anyway. But I'd always just do it for fun, and then I auditioned, and I sang 3 songs for the audition. And they were like, yeah, we love your voice, we love your look. You're playing like a Texas country singer in our like $100 million budget show. And I was like, oh. And then I get in the studio, and all the players, all the producers, all the engineers, everyone's living in Nashville and traveling to Georgia to do it. And they're all like, bro, you would love Nashville. Yeah. And so I started coming up on weekends, and I was just like, this is the music side of it. I wish that's what Austin had been. I was like, where's this been? I thought before I got here, I thought Nashville was like Dolly Parton impersonators and, you know, like 10-gallon hats. And I thought it was, and you know, you can find that here.
Like the Vegas of the South type thing.
Yeah.
Which it kind of is to a degree. But
I thought it was a bit more kind of like, I'm trying to think if there's anywhere else, like almost like a Disneyland for adults. But I thought it was just all
Shit
like
is.
overly cliche.
yeah.
And then I got here and I realized that like that's just what people in Texas had been telling me. And I got here and it's like there's dudes that just want to write music every day and I've been doing it for 20 years. And there's like you get the best players in the world here, the best producers in the world here. And so I kind of kicked myself that I hadn't got here sooner. But you know, everything happens for a reason. I'm glad it happened the way it did. And yeah, it was kind of cool going from, it was a little bit of a pinch me moment going from like pretending to play like this guy who's got a record deal and, you know, he's an up and coming artist in the country world, that show getting canceled and then it kind of starting to happen in real life is
That's cool.
Is really cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
And
man.
I'm not trying to jinx it, so I'm going to touch wood here.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. It was like an accidental manifestation of a potential career, and I've never really had a passion. I liked acting and I liked film, and I used to watch them. I'd say I loved them, and I used to watch them, and I used to think I could do that. But playing music just feels like, oh yeah, this is me.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, I'll always act and I'll always audition for things, but yeah, I wouldn't act for free, but I would play music for free, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
There's nothing better than writing a really good song and you can just feel it when it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to get the next 6 out. We have 6 already done. And the first one comes out like mid-January or something. I think we have a pre-save link coming up on Monday.
What's it called?
Something like that. Cold Beer Cold.
Nice.
It's kind of a play on words, but it's like, that wasn't just cold, that was cold beer cold.
Yeah.
And so it's a fun one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's more upbeat then?
Yeah, it's
Cool. Like a party
exactly what
song?
we've been talking about. It's like
Sweet.
modern, kind of commercial country with like rock and drums and
Cool.
you know, big guitars, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I love it.
Yeah, and then 6 more after that, and they're all kind of different vibes as well. So
Cool, man.
produced by the Huffs, Dann and David Huff, who are like legendary producers in Nashville. So yeah, I'm just kind of counting down the minutes. I'm like, come on, can we get this song out? And I just want to see the reaction. And the last song I put out was almost a year ago, so I'm kind of chomping at the bit to get these out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. We got a couple more minutes, but I want you to give me your top 3 country songs of all time and your top 3 TV series or films of all time. You can mix them.
Oh, damn. Holy mo! Top 3 series of all time. I think up until almost the end, Lost was up there.
They're so good.
One of the best pilots of all time for sure. Lost. Oh my god. I'm trying to think what else. Like I've watched so many. You know, I've not watched the whole thing, so I'm not going to use this as one of my choices. But I watched the first 2 seasons of Sopranos, and I never ever finished it for some reason. I think maybe I was like moving around at the time, whatever. But as far as everyone else says, it's really great. But I'm trying to think of like, I really loved. I tell you what, you know, what I really really loved was Blue Mountain State.
Okay, yeah,
Going
classic.
in a bit of another direction.
Yeah, no.
And
classic.
honestly, I might be just really, you know, basic bitch and say Game of Thrones because it really is like maybe the best of all time. So I don't know. They're the top 3, but it could be in any order.
Yeah, for sure. What about country songs?
Oh shit, man.
If you can, you don't have.
I'm gonna
pick
try. I'm
pick
gonna
3
try.
favorites. Yeah,
I'm gonna.
you don't have to rank them in an order either.
So my enjoyment. I think On the Road Again, Willie Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of like not, because there's so many great modern ones, but I think like you gotta almost retire or die to be the greatest of all time, you know.
Sure.
You Look So Good in Love, George Strait. Yeah, and I'm just pulling these out of my ass right now. So these.
I'm gonna clip it and put it all over social media, and everyone's gonna get mad at you.
Yeah,
Everyone's
why no
gonna
Luke
argue with you.
Combs? Why no Morgan? You got to put the bit that they've got to retire or die first. All right. Well, I guess George Strait hasn't retired or died, so fuck me. And I'm just.
I get the point, though. You get the point across.
I'm gonna go with Wagon. No, I'm kidding. Although
Great
that is,
song.
I love that song.
Great song.
It gets a hard time in Nashville because everyone asks bands to play it.
Yeah.
I do love that song. I think I'm gonna go with Should Have Been a Cowboy, Toby Keith.
Love it.
And they're kind of three generations, somewhere in there.
Love it.
They're probably not the top three of all time, but they're the top three of mine right now while I can think of them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll go with it. The last thing I'm going to get you to do after we cut cameras is I'm going to give you one of these cards. And what I'd like you to do is just write, it could be a thought, it could be a piece of advice, it could be, a mantra or a saying that you've, that's inspired you to continue going in your career. But basically it's for anyone that is watching this that could potentially want to do what you do, whether it's acting or whether it's music. You don't have to say it on camera, but I'm going to get you to write it down, give you a second to think about it. And
all right.
yeah, thank you, man, for joining me. I really appreciate it. That was like the fastest hour that's gone by so far.
Oh yeah. That was a good
awesome,
chat.
dude.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I didn't look at the cards
Have we got
once.
45 seconds?
Yeah.
All right. Can you tell me about, in 40 seconds, can you tell me about each loss in your MMA career? It's like decision, knockout.
First one I got tapped out after I almost knocked him out, guillotine. Second one was a rear naked choke, but I wasn't unconscious. The ref thought I went unconscious. It wasn't.
Oh, man.
Third one, he knocked me
Scandal.
out in 13 seconds after I tried a flying kick. And then the fourth one, I got rear naked choked. And then in the professional one, I got armbarred.
Yeah, all right. Nice. Well done. We got 10 seconds. You've actually got probably time for a fight based on your record. All right, brother. Pleasure,
Unreal,
man.
man. I
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you, bro. That was great.